In honor of spooky season this year, I finally read The Phantom of the Opera. I even did a little ASMR treat for you on Halloween Day. So I was super excited to read this book. I've been a huge fan of the Andrew Lloyd Webber show for years now. And this book, it is quite different from the musical, but did not let me down. So today, we're talking about it. So the story takes place around the late Victorian, early Edwardian times with the Paris Opera House. And it's written kind of as if someone lived through all of these and now is writing them, or he's taking different crime reports and putting them all down into a novel. It's primarily third person, but every now and then the narrator will interject his opinion saying, I don't know exactly what that was, or if someone were to ask me, I would have to disagree. And let me check real quick. There even are a couple of footnotes here. Specifically, there's a part when the Phantom arrives at this big masquerade party. And let's see, where was it? You know, they're talking about what he wore, and then at the bottom of the page it even says like what he was wearing. Might just be this edition. Although I will say something about this edition, the mask isn't right. It's a little confusing because in the Broadway musical, this is sort of what the mask is. It covers half of his face. But in the original book, and actually the poster for the musical, it covers all but his mouth. So that's my little mask rant for the day. But going back to the book and what I loved about it, I think the sense of mystery is really fun, really interesting. I did a little treat for you for Halloween, as I mentioned, where I read the first chapter. And throughout that chapter, you have a bunch of ballet girls talking about the opera ghost. Oh, something else, that's also something kind of funny about the book is, because of translation, he's technically the opera ghost, not the Phantom of the Opera. But anyway, they're like gossiping of like what they heard. Do they think he's real? Do they think he's actually a ghost? Or is it just the set playing tricks on them? And that's really fun to read. Something else that I really loved about this story is we don't entirely know the Phantom's identity, or like, is he actually doing all of this? Is he real, or is he just a man? And then later on, Raoul is with Christine, and she talks all about one night she had with the Phantom and her history with him, or Eric, as he's actually called in the book. And, you know, after she's done with the story, Raoul, wants to arrest him because Eric has been doing terrible things, but Christine says no, a little bit because the Phantom is the one who gave her voice. He's been giving her lessons for about 3 months now, so she doesn't want to turn him in, and even at the end when the Phantom has kidnapped her and he's giving her choice, she still chooses compassion, gives him love, which she sadly has never been able to feel due to his deformity, despite his brilliant mind. I will say though, if you are going in for a little bit of more of a gothic romance, you might be a little bit disappointed. I would say Christine, while she's intrigued with the Phantom, clearly cares for him as, her mentor, as a poor man who was wronged by society and has sadly taken it out in the wrong way. I wouldn't really say it's ever in a romantic sense. I believe when she does kiss him at the end, it's more compared to a maternal platonic kiss on the forehead, not this big dramatic lip kiss that's you might think. And then similarly, I don't know if she really loved Raoul that much. I mean, she doesn't dislike him. She does agree to get engaged, but she's more like, oh yeah, Raoul, I guess so. It's something I think is kind of funny in retrospect. Although something else I loved about the book is as a fan as somebody who's loved the Phantom of the Opera musical for years, I now get a better understanding of Little Lottie, because in the show it's a little bit of a random thing where it's like, what's the backstory of Little Lottie? Why is that her nickname? Or as my brother might say, wouldn't her nickname be Christy or something? But no, Little Lottie was actually this character in a story she and Raoul read when they were kids, and they compared Christine to Little Lottie, so that's how she got the nickname of Little Lottie. Overall, I really loved this book. I loved the tension, I loved the mystery, as well as the atmosphere. Even though it is quite different from the musical or from what many people believe the original story is, it's an absolute masterpiece, and I would definitely recommend it to everybody, whether or not you've seen a previous version or if this is your introduction to the story. If you enjoy this, please share it with your friends. I'm Louisa Hammond, and I'll see you next time.